Hey guys, we've noticed that some of you have been watching so much of our content, and we really appreciate it. But we also see that some of you have not subscribed yet, and we just want to let you know that it's free to subscribe. It's free to watch the content that we have. You can watch it at YouTube, you can watch it on Spotify, you can watch it on TikTok, but the place to be is YouTube. Go subscribe, click the bell, let us know you're there, and get ready for the next one. What's up? Welcome back to the Unscriptd podcast. Hey, we have another one for you. This is one really just talking about DNA and breaking that down to what it means to be your true self. So, man, I hope you guys follow along. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and what you guys didn't see, just so you guys know we're maintaining our unscripted nature, is the outfit change that we did inside of the studio just now to make it seem like this is...
Tell people that. You're supposed to just notice it. They'll go, oh, that's a new podcast.
Well, this is this is a perfect segue into like what I feel like my DNA is.
To tell people that you should say.
I'm just I can't lie. I think that's what it is. No, I think my DNA, by nature, feels like back of the room Will. I don't know if that resonates.
So introvertedness and just like not really wanting to be around people.
Well,
or are you talking about like creepy single dude in the back of a party? Don't tell me that's it.
No, no. If I'm going somewhere, I'm gonna be the center of attention somehow, some way. I don't know. I think that's built. Isn't that funny? Like the most extroverted people are the biggest introverts because that stress and anxiety of I'm here. I'm maybe not comfortable in this scenario, so I need to overperform or something like that.
Right.
So we're outperform everyone. No, back to the room, Will, is because as we were segueing out of our last episode, I was thinking about like what I feel like my DNA would look like or sound like. And that kind of resonates with me because I feel like that guy who comes into a room, and that's what I do. I don't try to go and put myself front and center. I like to sit in the back. But I'm listening probably more intently than the people that are in the front. But I want to be as inconspicuous as possible. Right? I just want to be almost as invisible as possible.
Yeah.
And I find myself that way, as I look at like my personal accounts for, social media. I know we've kind of had tons of conversations about how we can build up our brand, like our personal brand, or like build up our personal profiles to influence, the podcast here. Mm-hmm. So they grow in unison, in tandem, because you see that, right? You see a podcast page grow, and you see normally the hosts grow as well. Yeah. And for me, I'm not good at that. Just like I'm not good at taking pictures if I'm on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the moment. I'm so in the moment that I don't immerse myself maybe sometimes the way that is as productive as it could be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Question on that then.
Okay.
Do you think that inadvertently being in that space, I just had deja vu. I feel like I've asked this question before with the Matrix. No, been something. Does that sometimes?
Have you seen the Matrix?
I have. Do you like the Matrix? I do like the Matrix.
Which one?
What's the first one? It's the best one. All right. Do you inadvertently think that you might miss opportunities because of that space that you're in, of that just being in there, that you go, oh crap, I could have done this, or is it more of like a conscious effort of like, well, like I'm perfectly okay missing that?
I love this because as a safety professional, real fast, the thing I preach the most is I can't expect perfection out of anyone here at my establishment. I'm looking for recognition, areas where you can improve, areas where you can identify that that you're not maybe giving it your best, or you could have done things a little differently. But as we talk about DNA, that is identifiably me and who I am. And so do I think I miss opportunities? Most likely, probably.
Yeah.
It's also a space that I'm willing to occupy because it's just naturally, organically who I am. But recognition and identifying like the areas where I can improve to, I still have this imposter syndrome of thinking that no one cares about anything I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like even like right now, probably in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself like, shut up, like, stop talking. And that's something I've been thinking about here lately. That's something that I've been praying about lately is, do I have something worth talking about? Is my life like worth talking about? Are my perspectives worth
Why do
talking
you think
about?
it wouldn't be?
Well, I know now that they are, and as I root myself in
Yeah.
the scripture and in the word, like I know for sure that
Right.
they are, but it's just I don't know why I have that mentality to hide myself and to feel like I'm sometimes inadequate in the rooms that I occupy.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, one thing I've heard and listened to a lot is um, I was at a men's retreat at the Village Church sometime back. You were there for one of the days.
Yeah.
The second day, they're talking about um, there is a moment, we have moments within our lives that we can go back to that we never grew up from, right? And so if there's something in our lives, like maybe for an addict, or for me, like sometimes I feel like I'm not enough for some people, right? I can pinpoint that back to a point in time in my life that I'm still 12 years old. I'm still that 8-year-old boy in this like moment, or I'm that 15-year-old kid. Whatever happened that gave me a thought process moving forward of how I should be thinking about myself,
Yeah.
pinpointing it back to like, and so I guess the question to you is in real time, could you pinpoint that back to a point in time in your childhood where you're like, yes, you're, 33, 34 years old, but like, are you still this like 13-year-old boy in that moment?
Yeah, and probably not without putting some people important to me on blast.
Yeah,
You know what
of
I mean?
course.
So like, I'll avoid that at least for now.
Yeah. And so it makes you think. It makes you think, because I know for me, when I heard that, it was like, oh, right, because we always act like why you gotta be so childish? Why are you so childish? And it's like, well, because I never grew up from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never, and then so and there's these moments where I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Of like I'm still this immature kid when you bring up a certain topic or say something in a certain way, and I react in a very immature way. I can pinpoint that back to go, oh, it probably came from here, because like I'm still that 12-year-old boy, or whatever age I was.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still that person, And
Yeah.
so for me, it was almost like if I cry, right, almost every time, and I'll say it, almost every time, it goes through my head like, don't cry, that's a sign of weakness, right? And I have since worked through that with the person that said that, right? And that's no longer an issue, but it still it still runs through my head, right?
Well,
I don't believe it anymore.
I think every guy feels that though too.
Yeah.
Or a majority, except for now, things have really
And
sensitive.
we're getting some deep stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think you're right. Every guy does that. Every guy feels that, but that just shows how much words truly hurt, right? Like, words have power, and we have power over words, right? So if we actually look through scripture, there are multiple scriptures that state how we should be holding our tongues, right? Because they have power in our tongue, right? We have power in what we say, but also how other people tell us as well. And so this can look like if you're in a relationship and you've been told, like, or even in my situation, right? Like, if I'm sitting here and I'm being told that, well, you're the man, right? You're the one that needs, to show you the affection first. You're the one that needs to do all this stuff first, right? Then everything I do out of that if I'm at a 20, right? If I'm at 20% and I just don't have it that day, but in order for me to feel affection, I have to exert myself in order to feel this. I have to project this false sense of like, of who I am to this person to be able to receive something back, right? So now we're getting into this era of like, what men are supposed to be, what men are supposed to do. And we are always having to work towards something. And that's why we always get burnt out. And that's why men, the suicide rates are so high, is because they're freaking working and working and working and working. They're working in their day job. They're working to get a promotion. They're working to love their wife. They're working to get affection. They're working. And at some point, like, he needs rest.
Man.
I think we opened up a few things.
Yeah, because, wow. I was having a conversation with someone of the opposite sex here recently. And we were talking about hard things that we have to do, in life. Circumstances that are not fun, sacrificial things that you have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I was explaining the difference between how a lot, not all, but a lot of women handle certain things, and then how a lot of men handle certain things. And for men, if I feel in my head and just in the responsibility of being a man that I have to give the next year of this really uncomfortable time frame and really uncomfortable experience and challenging experience to get to the other side that has relief, 9 times out of 10, there is no relief on that other side, but I am trained biologically to work. And you said it just a moment ago. To work towards something, to resolve problems, to, give it multiple efforts and different ways to resolve things. And so, but when we reach that other side, because the idea and the question was, well, this hurts and I don't like this. And those are real emotions and very valid emotions, like I was talking to this individual. And I said, no, I understand that. And we feel that too as men, but we don't get a chance a lot of times to project those in real time then. We think we have to, like you said, work to the other side of the mountain. And then that's where that lives. That's where I can go, okay, I can break down, take all this armor off and tell you exactly like how I feel. And like that hurt me or whatever the case is, or cry or show real emotions. But you're working. And just like you said in the last episode, all you do is reach a summit that requires more work, summit. There's no other side of that mountain a lot of times that allows you to open up and break down that armor and have real, true emotional conversations.
Yeah. This is why we have broken men, right? The biggest thing that I've ever heard that helped me kind of shape how I raise my son and how I will now raise my daughter is from on one side of the fence, right? 2 separate people, 2 different ways of thinking, 2 different biologicals, right? So for my son, it was I would rather teach like what he should be doing as a man than him grow. It's I don't know, what's the saying? It's easier to raise a good man than it is to change a broken man. Right? Because at the end of the day, right, what we what our children go through and who they are ultimately what they're going to bring into their relationships.
Yeah.
Right? And the people that they're going to be affecting. Right? And a lot of times we don't think about that. Right? And this, I'll kind of go off this little tangent real quick. One thing that Matt Chandler was talking about that I love that he was talking about it, he goes, I am not ignorant to the fact that, one, I am doing everything I can to change my lineage, right? To change what a quote unquote for his side, what a Chandler man is. He was like, but I'm also not ignorant to the fact that I know that my son's going to grow up and have to heal things from what I've done, right? The things that I don't even know, right? But there's other things that we can be cognizant of to go, okay, I know this impacted my family. I know this happened here. So I'm going to teach him. I'm going to teach him not how not to do that, right? Because it affects people, right? And so at the end of the day, we have all these broken men because they're all going up to the summit, right? They get to the summit and they go, I arrived. And then they go, oh, it's just me, right? Because at the end of the day, they forgot, right? They weren't taught how to have true relationships. They weren't taught like what to do, right?
How to
Or
really communicate.
how to really communicate, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they had all of that, but on the rise, they just became so far removed, right? Where you'll lose friends. That's the thing, right? But the important relationships in your life, like relationships, like your wife or your spouse or whatever it is, right? Your children, like those things are so important that you can't leave that behind. You cannot, right? I think a lot of men do for the sake of the summit,
Yeah.
right? But when they get to the summit, they go, I don't know if I've ever met somebody that has made it to that level of success and lost their family and didn't say, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's the scary part. And maybe that's why I'm back of the room Will, because I'm like, I don't really want to truly, in a way, I kind of almost sabotage, so to speak. And I hate to even say it, but I'm going to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
Almost kind of sabotage to an extent in order not to see myself steadily climb because I'm worried about what that version of myself looks like.
So, I mean, I think if you're worried about how you're going to look on the way up, is it then could you be projecting somebody that you aren't on your way up, right? And that can look weird. That can look different in many ways, right?
Oh,
Right? Because I know, because I say it from experience and love, right? Because I know for me, it was okay if I'm projecting somebody who I'm not, and I'm coming up this mountain, the mountain's going to test everything that you are, right? The mountain's going to test how resilient are you, right? Like how survival are you, right? And so, because if we look at it, if we look at it in the same fact as if we're climbing Mount Everest or we're climbing Pikes Peak in Colorado, right? And what does it take to climb that summit, right? It takes resilience, it takes preparedness, it takes all this stuff to be able to get to the summit, right? And each point, right? If we hit the first 100 feet, solid. I got it. No worries at all. No issues, right? The next 100 feet is going to take another level to be able, it's going to take another level of preparedness to get to that next 100 feet, right? The next 1,000 feet,
yeah, that's completely
like now,
different.
now we're at a different atmospheric pressure. We're at a different oxygen level, right? Where it takes preparedness within who we are to be able to get to that place, right? So if we're trying to go from 100 to 1,000, right, and we didn't prepare for the middle, then we're not going to believe that we're good enough to be at the 1,000 because we never even did the work for the middle.
Well, and I think that's why it's so important to have a confidant, to have someone you can really like lean into and trust with. Our good pastors will tell you, they have this confidant, whether that's a certain therapist they've been with,
Or the elders, yeah.
whatever, a best friend, whatever the case is. Sometimes it's the most unique source that you wouldn't think is
Right.
be that for you.
100%.
The squirrel on the fence.
Yeah.
That doesn't talk
100%.
back.
Yep.
And also doesn't share your secrets.
Hey, Will, are you talking to squirrels?
No. I might try this though, just as a social experiment.
Hey, Jimmy, what's up, man?
Just go to some college campus and just start talking to squirrels and stuff.
You might get kicked off, bro.
The sad part is it'd probably catch on. That's that short term.
Oh my gosh, right?
It would be you'd see the next 100 freaking social influencers out there talking to squirrels.
That's hilarious.
But I think it's so important to have that because, like as you said, or am I projecting something on the way up? And certainly I was.
Yeah.
We've had those conversations of talking about. Let me take season 2. The way I addressed I think just maybe the way that we addressed a lot of the founders and a lot of the conversations, and maybe just missed the mark just a little bit. We had a lot of success, but at the same time, who we were then is not who we are now, and how we understand our conversations. Jumping off several of the people that have returned, some of the new guests that have come on board, like we're having different types of organic conversations.
Absolutely.
It's really beginning to become unscripted, the way that it's built out to do it, because that ultimately is a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And to give that brand life and to give that real meaning requires this constant We good?
Oh, yeah, we're fine. Okay.
Squirrel?
Yeah.
Requires like this constant, like, in a way, reiteration every single time, every single conversation that we have, right? And so on the way up, yes, projecting something different than probably what I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
I even think I talked to Christine about that. I told her, you know, the only person who really knows exactly how I am and who I am, my wife.
Yeah.
You know, she sees the goofiest sides of me that no one else sees.
Yeah.
But as I talk to you, as I talk to her, as I talk to some real true sources of wisdom in my life from other people, I break down certain walls that I have put up over the course of my life to present myself a certain way versus be genuine. And I talk about that, talk about personal accounts and stuff like that. And I've noticed the impact that even just over the last 2 videos that I've posted on my personal TikTok have generated some sort of like this genuine buzz to it. You know, just by stepping back, not presenting something false to who I actually
exactly.
who I actually am. Yeah.
I think it's very important, right? And to be completely honest, this is for anybody, right? Anybody that's wanting to climb their own summit, and maybe they've been projecting somebody that they're not, or trying to fake it until they make it. Man, I just say, hey, have a come to Jesus moment with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like really and truly. Because trying to keep up that facade all the way up, you're not going to be able to.
Don't have enough oxygen tanks for it.
There's not enough oxygen tanks, right? There's not enough, right? And if this is the person that's listening to this and they're saying, well, I don't have anybody around you. They're like, that's fine. Be your own hype man for a little bit. I had to be. I was my own hype man for a while, while I was sleeping on park benches, when I was homeless, right? At the end of the day, you learn to be your own hype man for a little bit because that's the only person that you can really count on in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you're in these moments of trying to figure it out and trying to really be somebody, right? Yeah, if you project somebody that who you are not, then it's going to take a very long time to unravel that.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Right. And then being able to unravel. So I did this at the first start of my career, right? I was like, all right, I got to look bigger than I am. I got to look more experienced than I am. This is what I have to do in order to get this, fancy marketing job that I wanted way back, somehow 20 years ago, whatever it was, right? This is what I need to do. This is how I need to be, right? And then it takes years to unravel that to go, well, if I'm doing that to myself, I have to be doing that to other people, right? And then now, not only do I have to unravel myself, now I have to unravel those relationships.
Unrealistic expectations.
Exactly. Right?
I do. Oh man, I'm so bad about that.
And then we put those on other people. Well, why aren't you as excited about this as I am, right? Why aren't you in this more than I am, right? Why aren't you asking me about this on a daily basis? It means the world to me, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, why are we expecting somebody to do something else? And this actually points back to our conversation that we just had before in the other podcast, right? If we're talking about Elon Musk doing his thing, right? Why are we pointing back and saying, well, why are we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's unrealistic expectation that we're going to put on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we want to be like somebody that we look at. Look, I'm sorry, but nobody else is Elon Musk.
It's someone else's. It's his DNA.
It's his DNA and how he's wired, and this is why he is who he is. There's not going to be another Elon Musk. There's not, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's not going to be another you. There's not going to be another you, right? Like, be who you are and be that person, and that's the most authentic self. Now, on the flip side of this, if you're an asshole, fix it, right? That's who you are, and that's what you're scared of people seeing.
So I've been wanting to talk to you, Michael.
I know I am. Right?
Since you brought it up.
Since you brought it up, you're the a-hole here. But that's what I'm trying to say is like people, people don't actually want to truly know who they are.
Yeah, they're
Who they truly are. Right. And that's why they put it. That's usually why there's a facade, is because there's a part of them that they don't want people to know. right?
Well,
They're scared of how they'll interpret it, maybe.
Well, it can also go so radically on the other side too. Like, you could be so radically who you are, and live this life that is you are your ultimate hype man to a certain extent.
Yeah.
That you don't again, right back to recognition, that you don't recognize areas that you actually need to improve. There are some parts of you that need to change.
Yeah. And consistently change.
Yeah. Like,
right.
Just being or identifiably 100% or 1,000% yourself. Great. Being that is also comes with the package of realizing that there's areas that you definitely need to change, and that you definitely need to adapt, and you definitely need to work on, that you definitely need to work through.
Oh my God.
Because otherwise you just become this like voice that like stands out and screams at everyone, accept me. You have to accept me. I do not. If you come up to me as an a-hole and you're talking to me that way and you go, well, this is just who I am. Well, you know who I am is? Or what in the world did I just say? Do you know who I am? Someone who's not going to be invested in this conversation. Turn around and walk away.
I think the best freedom that I ever had was to control the controllables. And I was like, okay, that's like super cliche. Like, what does that mean? Right. And that means that the most freedom that I've had is I can control how I react. Right. I can't control how somebody else is going to. Right. And then once I kind of like gauged that really well, I was able to go, okay, like, I'm going to say what I have to say in the way that I need to say it. Mm-hmm. Right. And how you react is not my fault. Right. It's not. Right. Like, I'm not responsible for your feelings. I'm not responsible. You're responsible for your own feelings. Now, there are caveats. There's some caveats here.
Okay.
One caveat is if I say, hey, Will, I'm being an a-hole today, and you snap back at me, that's not my fault that you snap back at me when I told you in a calm voice that you're being an a-hole today.
Sure.
Right? Now, if I say that to...
Don't provoke me.
Right. If I say that to my wife, right? Or if I say that to your wife, that's the caveat, right? And so we have to be aware of our surroundings and aware of the people that we're talking to, right? Like, I would never outright call your wife an a-hole, I mean, just there's literally no reason, whether I believed it or not, right? It would never happen.
She'd tear you up, dude.
I know she would.
I would be slowly. That meme when Homer says, Simpsons, that would be me, just redacted.
Right. Or the TikTok trend where it was like, the husband's so nice, but the wife is like freaking just on one. Yeah. And so, but
she's a sweetheart.
No, she's fantastic. She's an amazing, godly woman. Yeah. And I think there's caveats to what you should and what you shouldn't say. Mm-hmm. Right? Of like, if I say something to her, I should expect a reaction from her and you. Right? Like, I should expect that. Right? And so that's how we need to be able to look at the world is understand where you are in your surroundings, and then know what shouldn't be said in those surroundings.
Yeah, reading the room is stuff.
Reading the room is a major skill. Yeah. And I've said crap that I just shouldn't have in rooms, and I was like, oh, that was stupid. Yeah,
because if you're not prepared for the reaction, like, whose fault is it?
Exactly. It's mine.
You end up ping-ponging back and forth. I hate that.
Right?
I'm not going to do it.
Because, and that's the other caveat, right? Is if I'm in the wrong room, if I'm at a funeral, right? If I'm at a funeral and I'm like...
Probably shouldn't be trying to speed date,
Right, yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, man, he's real dead. I probably shouldn't say that. I should probably expect it.
Can I pinch him?
Right? Or do you think he's really dead? Do you think he's really dead? I mean, he's sitting there, right? Like, like those are things.
He's real dead.
He's real dead. Like, holy crap, he's dead.
Gosh, bro, this is the problem. Is that it's gonna be stuck in the back of my mind the next funeral I'll go to.
He's dead. And so. But it's read the room, right? Like if somebody reacts to me because I said, "Oh, he dead,"
yeah,
then I can go, "Okay, that was my fault," right? I said it in the wrong context, right? Versus I don't even think there's an actual. I was going to say the flip side of that is saying in the right context, but I don't think there is in that moment, right? And so it's just reading the room, right?
You just definitely just don't need to announce deadness at levels of deadness at funeral.
Right. Like, hey, is he going to heaven? Right? Is he going to heaven? Right?
It's an important question.
You know, it's a very important question, right? But maybe not the place to say it to the spouse.
Yeah. But, and I'm trying to remember what I had a conversation yesterday with someone. Okay. So I was talking to him about how I've had several conversations in the past and with other individuals that don't have the same beliefs as me.
Yeah.
Typically it results back to the same question, which is, do you think I'm a good person? Well, I can't. That's not for me to determine
Right.
whether or not you're a good person or not. I'm walking my own walk, but it always ends up like the follow questions are, well, I don't kill, never stole, I don't steal, haven't committed adultery, haven't all these different things. And I'm like, well, you're just telling me the 10 commandments.
Right.
And they're like, no, this is just morality. I'm like, where do you think that comes from? If you honestly, looking across the table at me, think that the version of Will without Christ is a better version of Will,
No.
1000% not. I would be inclined to hit every single person that crossed me
100%.
without remorse.
Yeah.
That's not a good version of Will. Those are
Right.
Those are real thoughts that I have in my mind. Anytime that we're
Yeah.
at the gym and
Oh, interesting. The one that you don't go to?
everyone needs to. No, do you see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying.
The version, and I'm not saying that I'm this violent person, but that's what I'm saying. I battle nature all day long.
Yeah.
I battle my human nature every single day, and without the contrast of my walk and my, in a way, spiritual maturity in the Holy Spirit and in the Scripture, and wanting to be different and contrastly wanting to improve, like I was just saying a moment ago, looking at myself and knowing that recognizing there's areas that I need to improve. I am endlessly needing to improve.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single day where I don't need to. And there's not a single day where I don't choke back things that I would really love to do. That person who cuts me off in traffic. When I walk in through HEB and I can't make it through an aisle because people think that it's okay to walk through an aisle, stop mid-aisle, and then just look up. There's nothing there's nothing up there. You know what I mean? Those are the people that I would love to physically move. I don't do that. The version of me without Christ is not a better version of me. And that's a number one for me at the core of myself. That's where I identify first.
100%. Right. Yeah. I agree on that one.
Real quick, before we get out of this one, what are we looking at?
32 games.
Okay. What's your DNA?
What's my DNA?
Yeah. What would you say?
This is my makeup?
Sure.
100%.
Maybelline.
No, I'm thinking like Clinique.
Clinique. The fact that you even know that, dude.
My mom, that's all my mom wore when I was a kid. So we'd go to the Clinique
Clinique
counter and she'd get her makeup and she got my sister that. Yeah, it was a thing in our household.
Interesting.
No, so my DNA is rooted in Christ, right? My DNA, that's where I bring everything from. It's who does God say that I am? And then out of that, I live.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And Michael walks into me. That's your DNA.
Maya walks in. Oh,
Who are you?
it depends.
Realistically.
It realistically depends on the room.
And not the projection right on the way up, but like
No, it literally depends on the room, right? So I can be an introvert, I can be an extrovert, right? And I would say I'm probably more introverted in event type settings.
Okay.
And I'm extroverted in friend type settings and people that I don't know, I can be extroverted as well. And so, yeah.
Interesting. I want to try to ask a question around this and see if I can do it in such a way that presents a good question. Do you feel like that's because the difference, right? The contrast of like you being introverted within a setting of people that you've never met before versus being extroverted in a group that you do know. Do you feel like that comes from a natural, habitual sense of you just wanting to absorb, and you've said it before, like you want to walk in being the student within the room, and that you want to bring that back and and share the findings that you have within your friend group? Because what would make you more introverted in a group of people that you don't know? Because sometimes people are more comfortable in that aspect versus around there.
So for me, I think it's twofold. I think yes, inherently, but I also think I'm still the 18-year-old boy that doesn't believe that he belongs, right? And so, or the 22-year-old kid that wants to get into the room but couldn't. But now that I'm in the rooms, what does that make me feel? Right? How do I act? How do I present myself? How do I do that? Right? And so I think I'm still everly evolving as well, right? And even some of the rooms I'm able to get into, right, that are a lot larger and a lot bigger rooms, and the people that I have access to, I'm like, oh, like I shouldn't be here, right? This is crazy, right? Like this is what I'm having the conversations in my head, and so, at times, I can go into a room and just absorb and take what I need and leave, and then if I feel the need that I can give back, then I will in those moments. Participate and speak out and whatever it may be. But if I'm being real with myself, man, I think it's 50-50. I think half of it is, I want to be introverted so that way I can absorb. But the other half is maybe the scared little boy that never worked through it.
Yeah, until you snowball.
Exactly.
Start catching some momentum. I feel that way a lot of times whenever, I for those who don't know, I have been blessed and fortunate enough to do some media recording videography for my church for Anchor Church, which is just a wonderful establishment. And just there's such a revival happening there.
Yeah, all of it.
Every single day, every single week. But sometimes I stand behind the camera, and oftentimes maybe I don't go to like every event or whatever else. And maybe, I've been trying to go to like several meetings with several of the guys for a while, and we've all kind of missed the mark and just been so busy or got sick or whatever the case is. And so when I show up, sometimes I feel like I don't have the same relationship with those guys that others might. And so maybe I feel, okay, instead of having traction, I feel like I walk in with slick tires every time.
Oh yeah, I get you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like I'm walking in like brand new, fresh every single time.
Yeah.
And what's been so wonderful, and we can kind of end on this since I guess, has been the fact that God has reminded me. Jesus has like sent these people, the Holy Spirit has like sent these people into my life, certain men in the church that I'll be sitting there and they kind of come congregate around me. And I don't think they realize how impactful that is. And it's not that I'm like this popular person or anything like that, but they specifically come with intentions of, hey, we may have not gotten that sit down. We may not have had that meeting. I may have not have seen you on Tuesday for, legacy night, whatever the case is. But like, I value that. You can feel it in their hugs. You can feel it in the questions that they ask. You can feel it in the transparency that you hear when they come up and they go, I don't need you to ask me about the things I'm struggling with. Here's what I've been struggling with. And they're looking at you in your eyes. And you're like, wow. As a man who's broken, going back to what we were talking about, as being a broken man and being a part of what the world identifies as manhood, seeing that transparency and having that open and honest from a man who's willing to cry, a man who's willing to, identify the areas that he's been improving in and being communicative about that is like the most refreshing thing ever.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah. If you haven't told them, you should thank them.
1,000% need to.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate you guys coming around me. I know I'm not at the events. I know I'm not there, but you guys make it a point to always be around me. So that's one thing.
Yeah, I need
a long way.
Yeah, I need to work on, again, so many things to work on.
Work in progress, man.
Bro, appreciate your knowledge. Appreciate your insights.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's always so much fun.
Awesome, man.
For everyone listening, everyone watching, you know where to find us. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the whole 9 yards, every piece of social media you can possibly think of outside of X. We have any.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys. We have some really cool things planned for the podcast, planned for you guys. And so everybody listening, OG followers, man, we thank you. We love you. And we have some cool stuff happening. Yeah. Thank you all.
Peace.